Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Adding context to how beneficial recent rain has been, Charleston since Saturday has measured 2.2 inches of rain. Compared to average month to date, we're within an inch, which is why there's a lack of color. But if you're at least an inch behind, you start to see some yellow or browns. At least an inch above, some greens. The wettest June so far between Logan and Beckley, where we've seen some flooding develop. More flooding is possible in the state, especially Friday and Saturday. So through the weekend, widespread accumulation of 1 to 2 inches generally possible with locally higher amounts. We will see quiet conditions overnight and into Thursday. Then in the late afternoon and into the evening, we'll see some storms from about Wheeling to Parkersburg building into the area and then moving southeast of there, potentially bringing the chance for some damaging winds. Then more action out there Friday and Saturday. 5-STAR forecast, it starts at home. D.C. will stay stormy if you're heading that way towards Saturday. Some wet conditions in New York as well, Orlando and Tampa, but Charlotte looking at clear conditions and getting hot with 97 by Saturday. Panhandle, the Panhandle forecast, Moundsville, a low 60 tonight, looking toward Kingwood for 56, where we'll stay with low 80s Thursday, 84 Moundsville. We'll see Davis, 52 tonight, 58 for Martinsburg, with clear to partly cloudy skies, then some storms and a very warm day. 89 for Petersburg on Thursday, 52 for Elkins tonight. We'll see a high of 74 Snowshoe Thursday, looking toward Parkersburg for 84 with shower and thunderstorm potential. Across areas to the south, Marlinton 50, Charleston 58, low to upper 80s here. Dry in that part of the region Thursday, but some wet weather through the weekend. Hot next week.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
5, 3, 1.
Red 57, Red 57, hot, hot.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie hits a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. We welcome you into a Wednesday edition of the CityNet Statewide Sportsline, June 24th, 2026. We're glad you're with us. However you may be listening or watching the show, Coach Hunter is alongside here in our Health Plan Studios. Coach Hunter, good evening and welcome to you.
Good evening, Brad. How you doing?
Doing great. Good. Coach Hunter. We got a couple larger topics to get into today, meaning we're going to spend some time diving into football, West Virginia football in particular. I mentioned last night we've sat down recently with Mike Hawkins, incoming transfer quarterback from Oklahoma, and had a wonderful conversation with him here. It was actually a couple weeks ago, Greg, and we were just now getting it pushed out because of the success of the baseball team as they kept running through the regionals and supers in Omaha, of course. And so today was the day we dropped Michael Hawkins out there, and so far off to a fast start in terms of views, which I knew it would be. So we'll dive into that here in just a second. We're going to play 3, 4, 5 clips from him from that show, just in case you haven't heard it yet or had a chance to watch it yet. You'll get a taste for what Michael Hawkins is all about. So that will kind of cover the quarterback position. We did Scotty Fox a couple weeks ago, now Michael Hawkins, and got a couple more surprises in the hopper, Coach Hunter, for our 3 guys guest. But Mike Hawkins clips coming up here in just a bit. We'll also get into the NBA draft. We talked about it last night. First round, Greg, went almost exactly as we had discussed last night. A lot of the mock drafts hit this one pretty well. The Big 12 was the big winner in the first round. 9 selections from the Big 12 coming off the board, so nearly a third of the picks came from the Big 12. We talked about how talent-rich the league was last year. That played itself out in terms of what the NBA scouts and general managers thought as well. So we'll dive into that. Round 2 comes up tonight. There's some more Big 12 players on the board expected to go off in the second round, so we'll dive into that as well. Love to hear from you. Text line's open as always, 304-8255-304. That's 304-TALK 304 if you'd like to weigh in on football, basketball, baseball, any of it. We'll take it. We'll take your questions and texts and get into those coming up a little bit later in the program. Did you watch the draft last night, by the way?
I turned it on for a little bit, sort of what I anticipated I would do. So I did pay a little bit of attention, but and followed along a little bit social media-wise just to see who was doing what. But as you said, it went so much
big night
per normal. Though every other pick was somebody that you knew.
Yeah.
And truthfully, every third pick was somebody you knew, having watched them play against the Mountaineers.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll recap that and exactly who went where coming up here in just a few minutes. Let's talk a little Michael Hawkins before we get into the audio from him. Really interesting pickup for Rich Rodriguez and staff in the offseason, bringing him in. And he is, Greg, if you look at him and look at his skill set, hasn't started a ton of games, hasn't played a ton of football necessarily yet, but, man, he fits the profile, doesn't he? He was highly acclaimed coming out of high school in Texas, heavily recruited, as you would expect, ends up at Oklahoma, but has all the skills you're looking for a prototypical fit in a Rich offense. He can take off on the design runs. He can tuck it and go when pressured is dropping back to pass. He can throw it. I've seen him throw a few times. The ball down the seam across the middle, has a tremendous touch on that. So really brings all the physical tools to the table.
Yeah, and while he isn't a guy that's got 3 years of starting experience under his belt, he does have some starts under his belt and has games played. And obviously at Oklahoma, that comes at pretty high level competition. So you like the fact that, okay, he's not completely raw. I mean, he's not exactly a grizzled vet, but he's not completely raw. So, just adapting to Rich's system, I think, is the biggest thing that he's got to do. And he showed pretty good comfort level in that area this spring. It's
interesting where you are this year versus last year when there was no clear-cut starter at quarterback. And I'm not so sure that's the case now, although I think it's pretty clear it's whittled down to two guys. It's going to be Scotty Fox and Michael Hawkins really battling it out to be the main starter. Won't be surprised again if we see both of those guys play. I think the interesting part would be, what would be the number there? If I gave you an over-under of 5.5 games for each, do each Scotty Fox and Mike Hawkins appear in more or over or under 5.5 games? What would you? And by the way, that might be a text question.
Yeah, there you go.
Do Michael Hawkins and Scotty Fox both appear in over or under 5.5 games? So meaning if we're going to say over, then both of them have to play in 6+. If you're under, then just one of the two has to not get in there. So I think it's pretty clear it's down to those two to battle for this starting job. And again, Hawkins with the prototypical Rich subset of skills. Scotty Fox, we saw what he can do last year.
He's not far behind in terms of the total skill level.
He can run it. He can throw it, obviously, extremely well. And I think maybe if there's an early leg up for him, it would be the mastery of this offense, having been through it in live action for an entire year. So I think you'll have a good battle. And I do think you'll see both of those at various times this year.
Yeah, and again, somebody's got to start a game. So, and you can only start one quarterback. So somebody will have to be 1A. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if they don't use them not in a rotation maybe, but maybe both in the same game in various formats through much of the year. I hope it's over your number, because last year we saw it under, and it was mainly because of injury situations,
that's right?
So hopefully they're both healthy, and you can utilize them both as you wish in that regard.
It'll be interesting also, as another ingredient into this pot, this quarterback stew that you're mixing up, that new rule that just went into effect, the 5 for 5. It's not as if, so let's just hypothetically take a Scotty Fox. Say he's say Hawkins wins the starting job for game 1. If you're Scotty Fox's camp, maybe in the old days you look around and say, well, hold on here. If I'm not going to start, then I'd like to redshirt this season, but not anymore.
No.
Right? That's off the table now. So maybe that pushes even more of using multiple guys during the season, because there's no reason to save anybody anymore. And Rich has talked about this. He wasn't necessarily saving guys in the first place.
No.
Right? Because of the way it is now. But given that 5 for 5 and no redshirting, I think you just play everybody now.
Yeah, well, we spent the first 2 months of last year saying, well, I don't know if Scotty Fox, if they should use him for more than 4 games and waste his red shirt. Well, now it's a great thing he did because that wouldn't have been retroactively allowed to him.
How about that? That's a great point.
So it was moot, but it also will impact as you go further down. And I don't think West Virginia is going to start playing 4 quarterbacks in a game, but Jerron Hughley has shown great wheels, right? You got a package for him. You're not saving him. So, any of those guys and in any of the positions, but we're going to look at quarterback first and foremost today. So I could see, opportunities there for multiple guys just because you can't save them.
It's a really good point, and it does bring up an interesting side note there. And last year was certainly out of necessity, right? It was you had so many injuries, and you also just couldn't get anybody consistent enough to take the job. I think in Rich's ideal world, he would whittle that down. He's not going to want to play 5 quarterbacks, but you bring up an interesting point just in packages or mixing it in or to give it a different look. If you're on the roster this year, there's no red shirt coming. This counts as year 1 of your 5th year. So I will be interested to see how he does that and manages that and handles that. Certainly for the other positions, you absolutely might as well get him in. Quarterback we know is a little bit tricky, and last year was, I think, an aberration more than a trend.
No, but again, I think you start talking skill set, and certainly looks like Hawkins has the skill set you want. I'm not saying anybody is Pat White or Rashid, but I think he's got the skill set, and I don't think Scotty Fox is far behind, and the other guys also can fit that. And while I like Nico Marchio and Bunch last year as players, they didn't fit with what Rich's offense needed. So as much beyond, anything else, he just didn't have the tools at that position. And again, we'll ultimately see if all the tools are there this year, but it certainly feels like right now that they have the skill set at that position that they did not have last year.
Agree with you on that. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll hear from the guy himself, Michael Hawkins, from 3 Guys Before the Game. That episode's out today. It's wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch it on the free MetroNews TV app or on YouTube. So break to take. When we come back, we'll hear from Mike Hawkins on the CityNet statewide Sportsline. Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. Your tax dollars helped expand broadband access across West Virginia, and CityNet makes it real. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. So whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
This boating season, elevate your family time with Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Proudly family-owned for over 40 years, Lou and his sons are West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer. Trusted experts in premium boats, motors, and service. Discover refined comfort, elegant design, and performance you can feel. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of preseason savings. At Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they don't just sell boats. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com because the weekend's almost here.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
For couples that are experiencing infertility, about half will have the male factor in the diagnosis. At the WVU Medicine Center for Reproductive Medicine, we offer a wide array of treatment options for male factor infertility. There's really no reason you would need to go anywhere else. If we can identify and treat male factor infertility, we can prevent couples from even having to go down the road of IVF, saving you potentially money and time. We're here to help build a family. We have the capabilities and we care.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the road.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown!
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. So whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. CityNet connects, protects, and perfects. So our question of the night, Coach Hunter, will both Michael Hawkins and Scotty Fox appear in over or under 5.5 games this season? Over or under 5.5 games for Fox and Hawkins. We'll get into some of your texts. Got a couple in already. We'll get into those coming up here in just a bit. Let's hear from Michael Hawkins. But first, Coach Hunter, we've got a little technical issue here. I got to get up. Well, just operator error. Just didn't have it on the screen. Wasn't
well, it's nice of you to admit that it wasn't
prepared.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a computer. It was the computer operator.
All right, let's dive in. And one of the interesting parts about Michael Hawkins, and I think part of what intrigued this coaching staff and helped Rich along with his skill set was the fact that Zac Alley, defensive coordinator, had gone against Hawkins in practice.
Yep.
So he got an intimate, up-close look at what skill set he had, what he does well, how he would fit potentially in this office. So it was like you had a live-in scout with Hawkins there for an entire year watching him go against a Zac Alley defense. So that's the first question we asked him is talk a little bit about that, about going against Zac Alley and having the connections and seeing that before he even arrived at West Virginia.
And there's a connection here, obviously, because Zac Alley was at Oklahoma, right? And Chuck Lilly was at Oklahoma as well. How much did that play into it at all when you start to get some recruitment from West Virginia? There's a little connection there. Did that kind of at least bring them up a spot?
Yeah, it definitely did. Just knowing that I have people here that I can trust and I've been close with in the past, and just knowing Coach Alley, how his defense is pretty. It's not the same as everybody else's. It's pretty exotic. So it was definitely a big step with other teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, by the way, first of all, I should have given a disclaimer there. If you're watching along with us on MetroNews TV, the free TV app, elite hair by Hawkins. Like, it takes up most of the screen. He's got it out, and it is big. It was elite hair. Big fan.
You love anything that's a little different. I always wonder about that. Now, I sort of came after the afro time, but when long hair was somewhat prominent, and I did not like that in a football helmet, right? I got a major cut before football season. I wonder about those that have big hair now, and you see many that do, if that's a problem in a football helmet.
I think he's going to have to braid it or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he has got a lot. Big. That might be the most hair I've seen live or been next to. It's awesome. So if you have a chance, or if you're listening on your radio and you're close to the MetroNews TV app, go check it out here before I play the next clip, and you can get a look at Michael's glorious hair on the set of Three Guys. Let's jump ahead here, Braden. I'm going to jump down to number 5 and continue that discussion about Zac Alley, because Michael continued about what it was like and how difficult it was going up against that Zac Alley defense each day.
During spring ball, for a period of time early, Zac was running anything and everything all of the time. And eventually Rich just said, We're not doing that. We're going base just to get everyone totally into speed. Like, how difficult is it to play against a Zac Alley defense?
It's definitely difficult. But once you've been in it, like I've been against his defense, this is going on my year 3. So
yeah, because scout team, you were running scout at some point at Oklahoma, right?
I never ran scout team, but Coach Venables has the same defense as Coach Alley, so I've been going against his defense for 2 years now. So
you know it,
yeah.
So he's been going against it. He's seen it a little bit there.
Seen it. And, again, it's very exotic, but it entails pieces of a little everything you see. So it's not like you'll never see this defense in the season. You'll see pieces of it. Not everybody may run the exact same package, but it does help because it's okay. Now we've seen the true 3-3-5 look or 4-2 or you name it. It's all incorporated, and that'll help him as he sees other defenses further down the road.
The next logical topic of conversation is what about this offensive system and the fit for him in it? What does he see? We can talk about how well he fits from a skill set standpoint. What's he think about playing in this Rich Rod offense? All right, so let's talk offensive system too. So you're in a Rich Rod offensive system. What was the discussion about that as you were talking through and learning about West Virginia? You're a prototypical Rich Rod type of quarterback. What about the offense?
I liked it. First coach I met with was Coach Trickett. So I just got a rundown of how they operate as offense and how up-tempo they were, and which I've never been a up-tempo like I have here at WVU, which is different, but I like it a lot. But when I got on the phone with Rich Rod, it was really good just seeing how he gets the quarterback involved with the run game, and then he's gotten more into the drop back, and it's been pretty good.
How about also, we talked about this last night, how about his demeanor? He's pretty chill, isn't he? He's not going to get ruffled and rattled about many things out on the field.
Like that out of quarterback, don't you?
You want a calm demeanor and just chilled out, right? Ready to go, anything you throw at me. So it's interesting, he refers to Coach Trickett. I assume that was Travis, not Rick, that he met with first.
It would have been before Rick was hired. So, Travis at that point in time.
But he's a guy, he'll be able to do all of it. The full package will be available when Hawkins is in the game. There's no question about that. Design runs, scrambles, throwing it, all of it's available for him.
Yeah, and certainly, and, unlike, again, we hate to point to last year's problems, but their offensive line, at least on paper at this point, looks significantly better. Running back situation, again, after Jaheim White got hurt, obviously it took a downturn from there and just continued injuries. But if you can keep, Cam Cook healthy, Amir Latimer, bring him along behind him, you feel good about your running back situation. I think they've got wide receivers they like, but again, you sort of have to see how that thing develops and just keep Jaden Bray healthy. But he's got weapons around him that'll help him.
Yeah, and we don't have the clip for you tonight, but if you go listen to the full episode, he talks about that. A couple things I found interesting. He talked about some of those weapons around him and some of the receivers. We talked about Strawn. We talked about Bray. We talked about DJ Epps. He also just talked about, he mentioned there that he has not been in an up-tempo system like this, but how much he likes it. We got into what he's looking for when he's coming up to the line of scrimmage and how they're talking in his ear about what comes next, and he's picking his. We did this with Scotty Fox, too, where you're picking the one key, you're finding it, and boom, that thing is snapped, and you're going. So it is a little bit different. There's not a sit back and examine 4 different keys. You are getting up there, you're getting the one look, and then boom, you go.
And again, I'll be interested to hear his take on that. I found that very fascinating in your interview with Scotty Fox a few weeks ago about how he talked about that. And that certainly is a big benefit of having played in this offense, is you know what immediately when you're coming to the line, how it's going to function. And practice is one thing. Game speed is a whole nother thing. When you're having to do it and Rhett's in your ear or whomever, and you're picking out your one key and you're trying to get everything snapped in 15 seconds.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, isn't it, when you get up to the line of scrimmage. Another question for Michael was we talked about how highly recruited he was. When did that start? When did he start getting attention from colleges?
When do you think that people started talking about you as saying, like, this kid can be, better than just a high school player?
Probably after my sophomore year. That was the first year I started at. And then going to my junior year, I started getting recruited way more. I went to some camps. And then it kind of just took off from there, and I committed my senior year.
Mm-hmm. You're a little humble on that. I mean, it's not like it was just a couple of schools. I mean, I could pull out the list here. Not that you don't remember, but you had offers from Oklahoma, Alabama, Michigan, Arkansas, TCU, Texas Tech, and I'm sure there may be a few others that were in there. Did you enjoy that process the first time through of being recruited?
I enjoyed it definitely the first time, and then kind of once I knew, like, sorting down, schools kind of dialed down a little. So it was kind of just understanding who's for me, and so it definitely did a change in my recruiting.
So that's a who's who, right, Coach Hunter? You love the recruiting side of it. That's a who's who. Everybody was on Hawkins coming out of Texas.
Yeah, no, you had a pretty good list there. And he was benefited. We know that his younger brother transferred to West Virginia too. Obviously, a Division I athlete at the defensive back side of things. But his father played at Oklahoma and had a stint in the NFL, so he knows what was happening in the recruiting world. He wasn't as highly recruited, I don't believe, as his son was, Michael Jr., but it helped, I think, in his progression, his decision-making. Of course, he ultimately follows his father to his alma mater.
Sure, and then decides to enter the portal looking for a little more playing time and lands here with Rich Rodriguez, Zac Alley, and company. All right, last cut we'll play for you, and again, I encourage you, if you've enjoyed hearing Michael, head over to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch it at YouTube or the MetroNews TV app, which is free. But, Greg, this is the final one here. This is a surprising second sport that Mike excels at.
Oh, really? Okay.
You like to bowl?
Say it again.
Bowl?
Bowl? Oh,
bowler?
yeah. I can bowl.
Oh,
Wait,
we get more bowlers.
There's more
on this. This stuns me how many bowlers there are out there with the guys.
You bowl?
I got my own ball.
I was going to ask you. You have a ball carrier?
Yeah.
With wheels?
Yeah, I have wheels.
You have a ball carrier. You have shoes?
I don't have my own shoes. But
you rent?
Surprised you don't have Jordan bowling shoes.
No, I just wear my own shoes.
He wears his own shoes. He doesn't even use bowling.
Jordans.
Wait a second. So,
Yeah.
Does it do this or you go straight?
It curves.
It does have a curve.
Wow. He didn't even flinch on it. It curves.
It does curve.
Yes, sir.
Average, if you were to play on a consistent basis, would be about what? You 200 guy?
I don't play.
I'm 200. My highest I bowl is 245.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
You ever hit a 7-10 split?
No.
Not yet.
How did you get into bowling?
Good question.
My dad, he has his own balls. He has like 3 balls. So
he's got the cases too that he brings in. He's one of those guys that got like the double thing, and he's bringing them he's dragging like 2 in.
Yeah, he doesn't bowl anymore, but when we go bowl, he'll bring them.
Heavy bowling in the Hawkins family. You mentioned the NFL pedigree.
Yeah.
And then his recruitment. You didn't know he was both of them.
Did not.
Were significant bowlers. I was serious when I said it. It is stunning how many athletes have been prolific bowlers. JoJo Harris, remember him?
Oh, absolutely.
He had his own ball as well and was a big bowler.
Yep.
So Hawkins can bowl.
Amazing when what you find out, inquiring minds. But yeah, that is good. I can't even come up with a reason as to why it becomes prominent. And nothing against bowlers in the world. I mean, I bowled when I was younger, but I don't feel like it's nearly as prevalent as it used to be. But there are kids that are still doing it in a high degree.
And it just seems like there's maybe it's because I didn't expect any.
Yeah.
There's a larger number of athletes that I feel like bowling pops up when we have these discussions. But I didn't see that coming from Michael, but he's a big bowler.
And if you're a good athlete, I mean, you can do it, right?
Well, that's right. He's a big fashion guy, too. We get into that. You heard like a little, I gave him a little thing about Jordans there. He had Jordans on, but he's a big fashion guy, too. If you're interested, he'll give you a little bit of that on the podcast as well. So there's Michael Hawkins for you. 3 Guys Before the Game episode that is out today, so it's freshly in your feeds. If you follow or subscribe, encourage you to go check it out, and you can hear more from the Oklahoma transfer quarterback. Break to take. When we come back, let's talk some hoops. NBA draft started last night. heavy Big 12 representation in the first round. More expected tonight as the second round starts up here in just a bit. We'll break it all down next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Adding context to how beneficial recent rain has been, Charleston since Saturday has measured 2.2 inches of rain. Compared to average month to date, we're within an inch, which is why there's a lack of color. But if you're at least an inch behind, you start to see some yellow or browns. At least an inch above, some greens. The wettest June so far between Logan and Beckley, where we've seen some flooding develop. More flooding is possible in the state, especially Friday and Saturday. So through the weekend, widespread accumulation of 1 to 2 inches generally possible with locally higher amounts. We will see quiet conditions overnight and into Thursday. Then in the late afternoon and into the evening, we'll see some storms from about Wheeling to Parkersburg building into the area and then moving southeast of there, potentially bringing the chance for some damaging winds. Then more action out there Friday and Saturday. 5-STAR-W forecast, it starts at home. D.C. will stay stormy if you're heading that way towards Saturday. Some wet conditions in New York as well, Orlando and Tampa, but Charlotte looking at clear conditions and getting hot with 97 by Saturday. Panhandle, the Panhandle forecast, Moundsville, a low of 60 tonight, looking toward Kingwood for 56, where we'll stay with low 80s Thursday, 84 Moundsville. We'll see Davis, 52 tonight, 58 for Martinsburg, with clear to partly cloudy skies, then some storms and a very warm day. 89 for Petersburg on Thursday, 52 for Elkins tonight. We'll see a high of 74 Snowshoe Thursday, looking toward Parkersburg for 84 with shower and thunderstorm potential. Across areas to the south, Marlinton 50, Charleston 58, low to upper 80s here. Dry in that part of the region Thursday, but some wet weather through the weekend. Hot next week.
We're back on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Brett and Greg with you. We're live in our Health Plan studio here in Morgantown. A reminder that since 1979, the Health Plan is called West Virginia Home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years, the Health Plan. All right, Coach Hunter. Didn't get many responses to our question of the night there. I thought we'd get a few more on quarterback play and who would get what number of games in. So we asked the question, Scotty Fox and Michael Hawkins. We'll just take those first two. Will they both get over or under 5.5 games played this season? Over, under, Hawkins and Fox, 5.5 games played. So that means if you want to go over, it means both of them have to play more or appear in more than 5.5 games. If you want to go under, that means just at least one of them plays in less than that. 304-8255-304. You think that's over? You take the over on that? You think both of them play at least 6 games?
Yes.
I do too.
Sitting here today, yes. Again, injury is the one thing I think would change that. But let's say everybody's healthy.
Go on down the list. Go on down. You mentioned Hughley. That's a good one for a specific skill set. What else, assuming there aren't the injury situation you saw last year, and I just can't imagine you get dinged 2 years in a row with the cluster injuries that you got at quarterback and running back last year. That was an unbelievable season. We've been around a long time. I don't remember that for a position, let alone both positions. But if you go on down the list, what else is there at quarterback? We spent so much time on Hawkins and Fox. They've taken up most of the oxygen.
Yeah, and again,
rightfully so.
Scotty Fox last year was number 4.
Yeah.
In your injuries, ultimately got him on the field, not only on the field, but got him starting the last half of the season. So you can't just completely dismiss. Max Brown, what we saw out of the spring, he was here last year, so he's got a little bit of understanding in the offense. I don't think that he pushes those two at the beginning of the season for a starting job, but I think that's a nice number 3 that's got a ton of experience between started his career at Florida, went to UNC Charlotte, then now at West Virginia. So that's about as good a number 3 as you're going to get in today's world in terms of experience. And then you got 3 freshmen in Johnson, Hughley, and Wyatt Brown. And again, what we saw at Hughley, great wheels, got to become a better passer. Johnson probably the same sort of skill set, though in a bit of a smaller package. Brown, we haven't seen yet coming in from California. At least we didn't see him in the spring. He's just getting here now. So I think, again, in the past, you'd say all 3 of those are ticketed for red shirts. Doesn't happen anymore. There's no use to worry about it one way or the other, keeping them under 4 games, anything like that. But I don't think they play a lot. But I do think that you try to see some of their actions and then maybe try to get a feel. Okay, who's the best of that bunch that you can concentrate on for the future and try to develop them as you move forward. I like the 3 freshmen, though they do have different abilities. Brown, a dual threat guy who can really throw it and had nice numbers in California. Hughley and Johnson, more runners than throwers, but showed enough that their ability to pass that you go, okay, they can develop that area, you hope. Fair?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Texter says, Austin from Parkersburg weighed in and said, his opinion, Fox gets the start out of respect for last year, but I think Hawkins takes over like Pat White did. Give me Hawkins the rest of the season. No disrespect to Scotty, but Hawkins is going to have the speed. Again, that comes Austin from Parkersburg. Here's one that came in. Texter says, I'll say under. I don't expect playing more than 3 quarterbacks, so under 5.5 for this texter. Doesn't think both Fox and Hawkins will get over 5.5 games.
Do you think, and again, Rich is not a loyalist who's just going to play a guy because he's a nice kid and he's been around. He's going to play what helps him win. With that said, do you think he plays both in games? Or do you think that he concentrates on one?
It's a really good question. I think his preference is to have one and ride him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen in years when he has somebody that he feels he can go with, that he usually goes with it. So
Fair.
I think some of that answer depends on what you see out of both of them. Again, some of the reports coming out of the spring where Scotty Fox's leap forward, as you would expect, in terms of managing and understanding the offense, it was a quantum leap forward, as it should be, right? And that gave him, that's his advantage over a Michael Hawkins, who probably has more prototypical Rich skills than Scotty does. And so I think we'll have to see what's that gap look like. How fast does Mike develop in the system? How good does Scotty Fox look in those? And I think that determines early on whether you see him or not. If Michael Hawkins gets the first start and the offense isn't going where it wants to, I think we can see Rich say, all right, I've got a guy sitting over here in Scotty Fox that knows this offense, and I know we can move it, and I know we can win games with him. Let's go. So I tend to think he will go to both if he needs to, even if it's just a jump start or jumper cables on the offense to get it going.
I think you're probably right. Last year we went into this and, the adage of if you got 2, you got none at the quarterback position, right? And, Rich downplayed that a lot in the preseason. Oh, no, I've played 2 before. I'll rotate, and sort of indicated he would do that. Well, in the end, they didn't really have what they wanted, right?
Correct.
So it was probably truthful that when you had 2 last year, you didn't have any because nobody was able to really step forward and take charge.
I do think, though, maybe it was more if you have 5, you don't have any.
Yeah.
Because I think 2, he can work in pretty easily given the skill set they have, especially because they might be a little bit different in what each of them excels at. I think last year was each one of those guys had something you really liked. If you could have combined the skill of all the 5 guys, I think you had a really successful quarterback, but you just couldn't get all the way there with one of them, and then the injuries piled on top of it. So I wonder if 2 doesn't feel like it's a lot to manage. The 5 last year felt like he was just searching for somebody to go take the darn job.
Because none of them had the exact skill that you wanted. I mean, it ended up Scotty Fox had the best of the closest to the skill set, but he was also by far the youngest, and we saw that early.
That was his deficiency, right? He had every skill that you wanted, could throw it, could run it, but he didn't have the experience, and you were certainly throwing him into the fire a lot earlier than you wanted to. So I would think that was the one piece that Scotty was missing last year was just the experience level, which you ultimately got. And by the end of the year, you got a kid that was performing pretty well at that position for not having done it at this level.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. So I will be fascinated, and I'll admit, I think last year Rich sort of downplayed the rotation aspect of it. I'll be interested to see what he says this preseason and then truthfully what he does once the season begins.
Texter says, I think Hawkins takes the job game 1 and doesn't lose it all year barring injury. Hawkins is going to be special, says the texter. Our texter from last night is back, and he's still mad. He says, I would have loved to it's funny. I would have loved to answer tonight's question, but I'm still mad. My mind is still scrambled and bewildered that Pat White's number is being retired during the Coastal game. Didn't sleep all night, and I can't focus on sending you guys a text. Although you did send a text, so thank you for that, but you didn't answer the question. If you can get yourself calmed in the next few minutes, please weigh in. If not, understood, and we'll try and come back. The synergy part of doing it on, apparently not a marketing guy here, the synergy part of doing it on September 5th for number 5 apparently didn't make him calm.
Care.
Didn't help his sleep any last night. So we're sorry about that. Tried to give you the answer there, but hopefully you can settle in the next few minutes and re-text us at 304-8255-304. Let's get our final break in. When we come back, let's talk a little basketball. NBA draft is continuing here in just a few minutes. It was a big night in night 1 for the Big 12. Expected to have some more guys off the board this evening as well. Back after this on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
At WVU Medicine, innovation is redefining men's health. Our specialists use advanced techniques like no needle, no scalpel vasectomy, and cutting-edge procedures for infertility. We offer precise vasectomy reversals, targeted solutions for pain, and the latest in testosterone replacement therapy, all designed to improve outcomes and recovery. For appointments, call 855-WVU-CARE or visit wvumedicine.org/urology.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline
returns in 2 minutes
on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Final few minutes sitting at Statewide Sportsline. Brad and Greg with you. Final reminder, underway over at the GOAT here at Suncrest Town Center, a meet and greet with the women's basketball team. So you're not too late. Got some time yet. It'll be going on to about 8 o'clock tonight. If you're in the area, head over. Hoppy and Tony are there. I'm headed there as soon as the show is done. We'd love to see you over there with us and meet the new women's basketball team. Speaking of that, Greg, I'm going to get in the NBA draft here in just a second. Mark Kellogg had a heck of a portal season here in bringing in a class. There's some tremendous players there. So chance to meet him coming up tonight if you're here locally in Morgantown. All right, draft from last night, round one. It was shockingly, as a lot of the mocks projected. A.J. DeBonzo, as we mentioned last night, was a big favorite to go number one overall to the Wizards. He did. That put Darren Peterson number 2 to Utah, which again was just, I just wonder what Danny Ainge and company were thinking there at Utah with DeBonza sitting right there in front of you, and yet you can't get him with the number 2 pick.
Half an hour from your arena.
So they had to be a little bummed out, but heck, they get a talented player in Darren Peterson. Might be the most talented guy in the draft. Maybe the best pickup was Darren Peterson. Kingston Flemings from Houston, the talented freshman point guard. He goes to the Atlanta Hawks as projected. Braden Burries from Arizona to Milwaukee as the number 10 pick. So 4 Big 12 players off the board in the first 10. 40% of the top 10 were Big 12 players. Christian Anderson, Texas Tech, goes in the first round to Charlotte. Cameron Carr from Baylor goes to the goes 24th, was traded immediately to the Lakers. Chris Sanak from Houston, the 6'11 freshman, goes to Boston at number 27. Josh Jefferson from Iowa State, he snuck into that first round there, traded to Brooklyn with the 28th pick, and then Koa Pete gets in the first round, the Arizona freshman. How many times did I just say freshman right there? Koa Pete traded to Phoenix, so he stays there in Arizona. The final numbers, 9 of the 30 first-round picks, Greg, were Big 12 players, so basically 30% of the field. 6 from the Big 10, just 2 in the top 10. The SEC had 5 first-rounders, but just 1 in the top 10, and that didn't come until Darius Acuff from Arkansas came off the board at number 7. The ACC had just 4 first-round picks. 3 of those came in the top 10. We mentioned last night Stanford guard Abuka Okori was getting a lot of attention. Originally when he came out, and there was a lot of talk when we were out at the Crown that Okori was coming back. Stanford was willing to open up its pocketbook there to keep Okori, who was just a talented scorer. So there was some thought he might return because he was a fringe second-round pick, really talented, but size was a question. Then he started going through some workouts and started getting some steam, and there was some talk heading into last night that he would move up into the first round, and he did. He goes 17, traded to Detroit. So Okori makes his way into the first round. Added to that list, so that's 10 West Virginia opponents in the first round. Add to that list, if you want, Jaden Quaintance, who technically came from Kentucky but only played in like 4 games last year. He was in Morgantown the year before as part of the Arizona State roster where he doubled against West Virginia, 15 and 12. He was a dude. He did not look like a 17-year-old freshman. He arrived on the Sun Devil campus as a really young college student, 17 years old, played his whole season at 17. Doubled in that disastrous game. Remember, we had that coming back, and you lost a 9 o'clock tip on a Tuesday night to Arizona State, but Quaintance was in that game. So really 11 if you want to look over the last year or so with guys that West Virginia's played against. I'll say it again. I have a feeling we're going to look back at last year's Big 12, and probably remember it more fondly as the years go on. That is a lot of high-level talent, especially young talent. And I'll say again, for Ross Hodge and company in year one to get a bye in the Big 12 tournament in that league, given that talent, pretty impressive accomplishment.
Very much. Okay, I'm going to make you use your NBA expertise because you do have knowledge. Out of those that you have seen over the last 2 years, okay, who ultimately will be the best? And there's always a bust or two.
Ooh.
Okay, so is it definitely one of the top two in Peterson or DeBonsa, or is there somebody else you think may have a better pro career? And then give me one that you think just isn't going to make it, because they're always busts.
That's a good one. The bust is harder because I like all of those guys you just named. I do think DeBonsa and Peterson are as advertised. I think the one question mark around DeBonsa is what we talked about last night. He's got to get consistent from three, right? In that league, you've got to be able to hit three, or they'll be able to do a better job than college teams were able to do at backing off and not letting him get downhill to the basket. So I think he's got to get that. That's why I said last night, I'm not so sure Peterson's not the best player in this draft. At 6'5", it's not like that's a 6'2" guy that you're worried about size. He has got great size. I know last year was weird as heck.
Yeah, his mind,
I get
okay.
it. I don't know that it was him. I don't know that it was his mind. I think that was a kid caught in between conflicting camps, right? Certainly didn't do what Bill Self wanted him to do all year, but I think there was other things going on, and whether there were actual cramps or not, or it was more a play, I don't know that. I don't have insight into that. I just think he's really good, and I wouldn't have hesitated to draft him necessarily either. I think he is a talented player, but you go down that list, I think Braden Burries is a guy that didn't get the attention from Arizona, but if you watched him, he's one of those guys. Will he ever be an NBA All-Star? Don't know. But he's a guy that could play 10 years easy in that league, right? He just fits in. He can do anything you want offensively. He's big enough to guard defensively. I think he's kind of a sleeper in that part of it.
So who's not? You didn't go to the other end. I know it's difficult.
I don't think
Corey,
I can.
just because of size? I mean, he was so good in the Crown.
Maybe, but that speed gives you a leg up. Sanak, I think, can play for a long time from Houston. I think it was clear last year his best basketball's ahead of him, and at 6'11", there's probably a spot on a roster for him a lot. Maybe Josh Jefferson, just because of sheer foot speed, right? I mean, that would be maybe your one question, is he doesn't necessarily play at a pace up and down that the NBA requires you to, but he's so multi-skilled at 6'9".
He was so versatile.
He was.
Double machine.
But they also look at just straight line speed too. They want you to be able to run, and he that's not his game necessarily. Kingston Flemings, I think, has a game that translates. He's good, and I'm not so sure his best ball isn't in front of him, right, as a freshman.
That straight line speed is interesting. You've told this story before, but I remember it. But tell it again on Buddy, who's a scout, and all he did was come in and watch how fast he was up and down the court and left after about 2 minutes.
I was blown away. It's my buddy that was a scout at the time. He's now a general manager in the NBA, and it's not Mike Gansey. And he was coming to a game to watch West Virginia and Connecticut, and he rolled in and he was going to his seat. The press tables were filled, so we'd got him a seat to sit in the stand. So I was going down with him, and he gets there, and I meet him, and we're walking down to the seat. He didn't have anything with him. He didn't have a notebook. He didn't have anything like normally you have those charts with the floor on it drawn out like a coach would. He's going to write some notes. I figured he's going to be extensive here with the notes. I was excited to sit with him, like, all right, give me some stuff here. What are we doing? Watching offenses and all that. And I go, what are you doing? Why don't you have anything? And he goes, well, I don't even know if I'll be here for the full game. He said, I'm watching one player, and I need to see one specific thing. And so I'm like, well, that's wild. What are you looking at? And he said, I just need to put my actual eyes on his speed, his end-to-end foot line speed, almost like he was doing an NFL, clocking him in the 40. He said on tape he looks like he's really fast and fast enough, but he's a guard and he's a point guard and a ball handler, and we need him to have exceptional straight line up and down the court speed. And so he said, I don't need to write anything down. I just simply need to see him and watch him run a couple times up the floor. And he said, I'll probably take off before halftime. And the guy he was watching, the player he was watching, was Kemba Walker from UConn. And so he had everything already at that point. It was January at that point. And he had everything already that they wanted. He was already heavily on their radar. They were already doing background checks on him. He just simply needed to see with his own eyes if he could get up and down the floor as fast as he looked on tape.
It is amazing, though. We think of all the skill sets it takes. And certainly quickness and speed are up there, but that's so valuable. But that's the one final mark an NBA future GM wants to see.
Pretty wild. So, yeah, foot speed matters. So if you were making me pick one of those guys, maybe Jefferson, simply because of that, although he's not a 6-foot guard that needs to run. But he is a guy that I think his strength is in being able to initiate the offense and play make, right? So if you're going to do that, you better be able to get up and down the floor a little bit. All right, second-round names. We mentioned a few of these last night. They're possible to come off the board tonight. Baba Miller from Cincinnati. I think he fits the NBA tremendously well. Can run up and down the floor. He has great speed, and 6'11", obviously the size.
Could step out a little bit.
He can, would have to get more consistent. But as a second-round pick, I think that's a guy that probably finds his way into the league. Richie Saunders will have to come back from that devastating knee injury he got late, but certainly his ability to shoot the ball is an NBA skill set. Emmanuel Sharp, same thing, right? Sharp shooter, no pun intended on his last name. He's a guy. Jaden Bradley, Big 12 Player of the Year from Arizona. Milos Uzan from Houston, another guy that may come off the board tonight. All right, that's going to do it for us this evening. One last reminder to go download the Three Guys episode featuring Michael Hawkins. That is out as of today. You can also watch it for free on the MetroNews TV app or find it on YouTube. Greg and I will be back with you tomorrow night. Plenty more football and basketball to get into, your text as well. Enjoy your evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network.
All rights reserved.